Hello everyone and a very warm welcome to yet another session from Economicspedia. So today in this session, we are thinking of covering a very important part from the public finance or public economics. And this public finance or public economics is a subject that mostly being ignored by many of the aspirants and students around. Why? Because it involves some of the administrative concepts or some of the aspects from the government side, how the things are working and etc. etc. So that is why this is one of the sessions from the public finance, and here the first session that we have taken up is the canons of taxation. It's a very important part of the public economics because this whole public economics overall is connected somehow or related somehow to the taxation system or revenue system of the government. That means public finance, that means it's related with the government, how the government is working in any economy. On that, this part of economics is concerned. So therefore, today's topic of discussion is canons of taxation, and it is one of the parts, as I've mentioned. The upcoming parts will be there on the canons of taxation, discussing some of the modern concepts of these canons of taxation. So starting with this canon of taxation, what is actually means? Let's understand from the basic thing that what is actually means. Canons of taxation, it implies the characteristics, or we can say the qualities, that must be there for a good tax system in any economy. The characteristics or qualities that a good taxation system must possess is defined by these canons of taxation. And this canon of taxation was given out by whom? Smith, Adam Smith, in the year of 1776. And he also mentioned that these canons of taxation are administrative part of tax. Okay, so that is how even in the year of 1776, it is such a long concept, the canons of taxation, that is the characteristics of a good taxation system. Even though it being such a old concept, till now the modern governments are using this Smithian characteristics while imposing or collecting the taxes. So you understand that how important this canons of taxation serves. Now, canons of taxation as given out by Smith, it was broadly divided into 4 types. So what are the types? We are going to discuss that, and also along with that some of the modern additions to this existing canons of taxation has been there. So starting with the canons that has been mentioned by Smith. Okay. So first one is the canon of equality. It's very important. Second one is the canon of certainty. Third one is the canon of economy. And fourth one is the canon of convenience. These are the 4 broad canons that has been given out by Smith, that have already been given out. Now, in addition to these canons, the existing modern governments have come up with few more of the canons. Let me mention one of those as well. So, okay. So, starting with number 5, the canon of productivity. 6, canon of elasticity. 7, canon of simplicity. And 8 is the canon of diversity. Alright, so these are the modern canons that has been mentioned up by the modern governments. So well, in this session we will be discussing it at a slow pace, and therefore today in this session we will be discussing the first 4 canons that has been given out by Smith. So let's discuss the 4 canons that has been given out by Smith. So the first canon by Smith was the canon of equality. It's number 1 out of the 4 canons of taxation because it is the most important one. What does this equality means? The burden. Tax is basically a burden, right, for the taxpayers. So this burden of taxation has to be divided equally among all the taxpayers. Okay, that is why this equality comes. So first of all, the thing that you need to focus on is the burden of tax. This has to be divided equally among the taxpayers. Now, we have already discussed this equally part. Whenever the term equally is there, especially in economics, another word comes in, that is the justice. So here equality demands justice. Okay, justice is a concept that arises automatically when we are talking about equality. Why this justice is there? Because there are different types of taxpayers that exist in an economy. So it is not possible that each and every taxpayer is having the similar amount of ability to pay. The term that I have used is ability to pay the taxes. This is the thing that is different among the different taxpayers. And therefore, the justice system demands that according to ability of pay or ability to pay, the division of the burden of tax should be there. For example, the rich people and the poor people. What can we say about this? The rich people mostly have more capacity, or they are more able to pay higher amount of taxes as compared to the poor people. So therefore, this equality canon will be demanding that the rich people would be taxed higher as compared to the poor people, because that is how the burden will be divided equally, and that is how the justice will be achieved, and that is how the equality will be maintained. And if this is possible, that if the burden is divided equally, then we can say that the sacrifice that has been done by the taxpayers would be equal. Because ultimately this burden of taxation is nothing but it's a sacrifice. Okay, so the sacrifice will be similar for each and every type of the taxpayers. So what we can say is that canon of equality and the canon of ability, these two are nothing but the two faces of the same coin. One, we are saying it in a direct way, and the second one, that is the ability to pay. So you just understood, right, that to explain this canon of equality, we had to take the help of this canon of ability also. So that is why these two are very interestingly the two faces of the same coin. Alright. So this is a brief and very compact way of making you understand what is canon of equality is. Now let me move to the second canon, that is the canon of certainty. Whenever we talk about certainty, especially in the cases of taxation system, what do we actually mean? Certainty has to be there if we are talking about taxes. Why? So this is canon of certainty. Certainty has to be there. Why it has to be there? Because if the taxation, the amount that you have to pay, suppose you being a taxpayer, if you do not know how much amount of tax you need to pay, would you be willing to pay the taxes at all? The answer is a big no, right? So therefore this certainty has to be there. This canon of certainty actually serves a lot of things, lot of confusions it helps to clear away. Smith mentioned under this canon of certainty what are the things that need to be crystal clear, not only for the taxpayers but also for the authority collecting the taxes. These are the following things that needs to be very much clear. Number one is the time payment. Number 2, the manner of payment. And number 3, tax liability. These all things, tax liability, that means the amount of tax that needs to be paid. So these things need to be clear all the time. Not only to the taxpayer, but also to the governments. For example, not only to the taxpayer, the when, how and where should be clear. That means the tax liability should be clear, but also it's the duty of the government agency or the government to give out with certainty the amount of revenue that the government is willing to collect in a given period of time. And if there is uncertainty in any of these things, then it will be a big trouble for the economy. Okay, therefore, you can understand that how important this certainty or the canon of certainty is, right? Now, with this, let's move to the third canon, that is the canon of economy. It's very important, right? Canon of economy. That means what? The way of collecting the taxes, the method of collecting the taxes has to be very much cost efficient. That means the administrative cost of collecting the taxes has to be as minimum as possible, because that will be the ideal way of collecting the taxes. For example, if there is large amount of administrative cost involved in collecting any of the taxes, and it also includes unusual delays in the collection of taxes, then such type of taxes needs to be eliminated from the government list of collecting taxes immediately. This needs to be done. So you can see that economy means the cost effective way of collecting the taxes, which will be effective, cost effective. So we are talking about here the administrative cost, this effective way of collecting the taxes. Now you also have to understand that it involves a large amount of time also while collecting the taxes. So to be efficient economically, it has to take care of both the things, that is the cost and the time involved in collecting any form of taxes. Okay, so with this, let's move to the fourth canon of taxation, that is the canon of convenience, which was given out by Smith in the year of 1776. So the fourth canon is the canon of convenience. Now, the way of collecting taxes by the authority, government authority, and the way of giving out the taxes, that means how the taxpayers are paying the taxes, this has to be done in the greatest convenient way. Yes, the word greatest, I would be using it. Greatest convenient way of imposing the taxes. For example, let me take an example to make you understand. For example, when the harvest is done, very recently all over the India, the harvest festival just went away. Many types, since India is divided and beautifully integrated, so we had all celebrated the harvest season in our own way, right? So during this harvest season, what actually happens? The agricultural income tax is collected. During the harvest, the agricultural income tax is being collected. Why? Because that is the most convenient time that the farmers can pay this tax. Without harvest, how a farmer will pay? From where the farmer will pay? Right? In the same way, salaried people. When the salaried people are getting taxed, at the source time of their salary, that is at the starting, before getting the salary into their account, it get already automatically deducted, and then after that the salaried people receive their salaries, right? So this is what? This implies that this is the most convenient time the salaried people are able to pay the tax to the government. So this is what the canon of convenience actually means. So with this, we are finished with the Smithian canons of taxation, the 4 basic and broad canons of taxation. But we are not done yet. We still have the modern government canons of taxation to discuss. That is the next four canons of taxation that I have mentioned in the starting of this session. Well, stay tuned because very soon we will be discussing the modern 4 canons of taxation, which are very important, and now they are included in the canons of taxation syllabus also. So you have to be aware of what are the modern changes that has been done. So stay tuned and keep your eyes on this channel of Economicspedia. And for this elaborative version of this lecture, do contact us, and the details are appearing on your screen. Contact us through WhatsApp, mail or call. We are always here to help you out and we'll be glad to help you out. Thank you very much for watching and stay tuned for the upcoming sessions.